This is a good week, I think, because the Browns are going to start doing some things with their roster here. They might even start in the next few days. We'll see how that all plays out, but they have to cut their roster on Saturday. So I thought this was a good opportunity to kind of take the week and go through some positions and talk them through and see what we might think about the Browns. So we're going to start with the back end of the defense today, and we're going to talk about the corners and the safeties. And I think we have to start here by talking about Grant Delpit, because obviously the Browns had big plans for Delpit. He is not going to be there this season due to the Achilles injury and undergoing surgery. His season is over before it started. Mary Kay, when you look at the loss of Grant Delpit, now that we've had some time to kind of process it, I mean, what does it really mean for this defense?
Well, first of all, I think it's a huge blow to the defense, because even on draft day, when we talked to Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and those guys about Grant Delpit, they really went on and on about how versatile he is and just how many different things he could do for this defense. So I think he probably would have been on the field for almost every snap. Now, he was still not working with the ones yet in base defense, which is a 4-3 defense. He was still working behind Andrew Sendejo there at free safety. But when it comes to any of the sub defenses in terms of dime, nickel, and those kinds of things, Grant was going to be on the field right from the start in those defenses.
What this means is we're going to find out how the Browns feel about Sheldrick Redwine as maybe the third safety on the field at times, or a collection of practice squad / undrafted free agents. There just isn't a lot of experience behind the first two safeties. And that's why, we had talked about people like Ryan and maybe other possibilities. Do the Browns need to go out and get somebody? But now I think you're left with just a lot of uncertainty. And I think Joseph and Sendejo have done good to nail down those spots. From the start of camp, it was very clear that those were the two guys. And then they were working Delpit in different packages. But now there's questions.
And of course, on that very same day that Grant Delpit goes down with the ruptured Achilles, which he had the surgery, he's back rehabbing. Right now, he's in the facility. But Greedy Williams also went down with the shoulder injury. And we haven't talked about that all too much. I mean, I bring it up, and we bring it up from time to time in our writing and talking and all that kind of stuff. But because we don't know the extent of that shoulder injury, we haven't really been able to say, oh, hey, now they've got to go find somebody to replace Greedy Williams too. But it's weird. He hasn't been around since last Monday, 1 week ago, when he went out with that shoulder injury.
Do you guys believe Greedy Williams necessarily should have been the starting corner this year? Because we've seen Terrence Mitchell a little bit over 2 years in game action. And I thought, again, based on what we could see, which was not always very much, it seemed like Terrence Mitchell was doing a pretty good job. Do either of you think there was a chance that maybe Terrence Mitchell could have won that job, even if Greedy was healthy, or should have been given a shot to win that job?
Could Mitchell win the position? I think, sure. I think that's the one thing that makes this Greedy Williams injury maybe not as big a deal as some other spots, is that we know Terrence Mitchell is there, and we've seen him step in before and hold the fort down while Williams was out. And if they were starting over and everybody was healthy and they said, this is an open competition, I don't think anybody would be surprised to hear that. I don't think Greedy Williams came into this year as the guy who you knew wasn't going to lose that spot. But again, I still think that when he is healthy, he's going to be the guy next to Denzel Ward in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has been the plan all along. But this was a big camp, I think, for Greedy to really sort of step up and nail things down. And I think this injury is quite a setback for him because he had some things to prove. He had technique that he needed to improve. And the guy that I actually thought might give him a run for his money was Kevin Johnson. Every time I looked out there, I saw Kevin Johnson making plays and doing all kinds of things. He was active, he was aggressive, and he was just showing up everywhere. Now, he plays a very vital role as the nickelback, and they need him a lot. That's a position where you're going to get a lot of reps. So chances are they probably still would have kept Greedy on the outside and maybe had Kevin Johnson still as the nickelback. But I don't know. There was just something in the back of my mind that was telling me that Kevin Johnson was making a run for a starting job with the way he was performing in camp, and that they might have had to change things up a little bit.
Even though there's been all these injuries, the defensive backfield, I don't think, is having a bad camp per se. They're actually performing, and they're getting their hands on balls. It's just they can't stay on the field. And, in Stewart's case,